Hey everyone, today I am here to share my party top progress, my finished woven waffle weave dishcloths, and also a new swatch I just knit up with a new yarn base. Thank you so much for joining me today. For those of you who may be new, I'm Marina, and this is Pineapple Knits, which is a video cast about knitting, spinning, and other fiber arts. You can connect with me on social media at Pineapple Yarn, and you can also connect with me on my website at pineappleyarn.com. I hope you all have had a wonderful week. It's been such a busy week here. I've actually had, sadly, very limited time for crafting. It was just kind of one thing after another, but I do have a few things to share with you today. Grab a beverage. I have today something very simple. I have some peppermint tea. Peppermint is one of my favorite flavors. I think it's one of those things you either really don't care for or you just really love. I might be in the minority, but this is just a very simple, it's from Stash, peppermint tea. I have a little bit of stevia in it, and I thought it'd be really good. It's really cooling, and I've let it sit sufficiently now where it is basically like iced tea. I also should talk about what I'm wearing. This is the Spoondrift shawl from Alicia Plummer. I knit this, I think I knit this last year. So the top color here is, let's see, I believe this is Neon Coral from Pineapple Yarn, and it is alternated with a Madelinetosh color called Voodoo, which is a pink color. And then as you get to the bottom, I alternated, kind of did a fade with another Pineapple Yarn color called Heliotrope. And this is just this was a really fun pattern. And it was originally a mystery knit along, and I love mystery knit along. So this was really fun, but I thought all three of these colors worked really well. I had this in my stash, the Voodoo from Madelinetosh, and it's a beautiful single ply with hollow glitter. And so it is just a really fun pop of glitter on this shawl. It's very similar to my princess colorway. So yeah, this was just a really beautiful pattern, and this is how large mine is. So if you can see, I'll lean over. It's about a wingspan. So yeah, I just saw it in my closet today and thought I would pop it on. The first item I'd like to share with you is the Party Top by Abbye Knits, and I have it squeezed really into my project bag. This was included, or was an option, an add-on option to my 2019 advent calendars, and I love this project bag because it's so punchy and bright. But let me share with you my progress so far. I actually completed the entire body, which it's kind of funny when I say entire body because it's not terribly long. It's actually a pretty small sweater. It's a cropped sweater. So here it is so far, and all the ribbing, there's about 2 inches of ribbing on the bottom. And so it kind of snugs it in a little bit at the bottom. And then what I have continued doing, I just picked up the stitches for the sleeves, and I'm working on the sleeves right now. And so, you know, they're a little fiddly with, because I'm alternating skeins every row, just because even though this yarn is from the same dye lot, I love doing that to eliminate any kind of pooling. And so I feel like this sweater really doesn't have any pooling in it because I have alternated every row. So, you know, you just have to decide, do you want possibly risk pooling or alternate rows? And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the alternating. But yeah, so far so good. I'm still really going to focus on this next week. Hopefully I'll have some more crafting time and really get a lot accomplished. But But for those of you who may be interested, I am using the same size needle specified in the pattern, which I never do. I always drop down one needle size, but I really love this yarn base. This is on my Lani DK, and I always use a size 6. That's I just know what gauge I reach when I use the size 6, which is a 4mm. And so I'm using a 6 on this, and for the ribbing, I'm using a size 4. So yeah, this is turning out so cute, and hopefully I will be able to just go through the sleeves and it'll be done very quickly. I'm not sure what length of sleeves I'm going to do on this next. I may do 3/4 length, but I also may do full length. This is for my daughter, and honestly, we just don't really wear sweaters unless it's super cold. Basically, we wear sweaters in lieu of a jacket or a coat. So when you're going to wear a sweater, we're either right on the beach, or just with like the sea breeze, gets very, very cold, or it's winter and it's cold and you want a long sleeve sweater. So yeah, this is coming along really well. And I almost forgot to tell you, this yarn is from Pineapple Yarn. It is called Shore Thing, and it's on the Lani DK base. One more thing I wanted to talk about are the sleeves. So I know I talked about this before. There's this really fun eyelet pattern on the sleeves, and after you kind of start that because this is a top-down raglan style sweater. And so when you pick up the sleeves and continue to knit, the eyelet pattern also continues with the sleeve. And you are decreasing for sleeve shaping and whatnot, but it doesn't give a kind of like a row by row instruction on how to continue the eyelet pattern and do the decreases. So if, just a heads up, if you're uncomfortable with that, this might actually be a nice challenge for you because it doesn't give instructions. Now, all that to say, it is very, it's simple to look and see if you're alternating eyelets. The eyelets are only every maybe 6th row. And so it's not like, you have a nice 5 rows of stockinette in between each one. And as long as you're looking to make sure that you place the eyelet in between the last 2 eyelets, you're fine. And you don't really need a kind of a line by line instruction. But and for me personally, I don't really like that. I like patterns that just say continue eyelet pattern. Maybe because I don't do super complicated patterns, and so I'm okay if there's a simple pattern and it says to just continue. But I know some knitters kind of like that instruction, that very specific instruction. So anyway, I thought I would mention that. I think I mentioned in one of my podcasts recently that I'm definitely one of those knitters that just I kind of get the idea of where a pattern's going, and then I just kind of do my own thing. And I don't, unless I'm doing a test knit, I don't follow it line by line, which is kind of good and bad. So, if you can follow a pattern word for word, line by line, I think that's really great. But some of us just kind of go off and do our thing. But the next thing I want to share with you is I have been talking about wanting to knit a sweater for myself, my autumn sweater, my annual autumn sweater. And I had found a yarn base. It's a new to me yarn base, and I was thrilled to find it. It is a beautiful base, but this is the yarn I will be using in my autumnal sweater. This is an amazing yarn, and I had a sample of it and I thought, I have to get this and I have to use it because this is everything right now. This is my colorway. It's Pineapple Yarn's colorway on Coral Conch, and I've been saying for so long that I want a sweater out of this color, and I'm finally going to do it. But let me give you a close-up of this yarn. It is kind of a neon orange, but more of like a neon-y orange melon color. And so it definitely has a little bit of pink and definitely a lot of orange, but I love it. I hope you can see this amazing texture. This is a 2-ply yarn. It is so gorgeous. This is a superwash merino and baby alpaca, which makes for an absolutely lovely spin, or lovely knit. It's very, very soft, but that 2-ply just gives it just an absolutely gorgeous texture. And so I dyed up a sweater quantity of those this past week, and I settled upon a pattern. I was looking for a worsted weight pattern, and I wanted something that obviously wasn't colorway, and I settled on the Coastal Pullover by Hannah Fettig, and I swatched for it because I wasn't sure if the texture of this yarn would work with the cables. So let me give you a close-up of the swatch, and then you can see it up close. So here is the swatch I did. The sweater has this all over amazing cable pattern. And so I actually wet blocked this, and I got gauge, nearly perfect gauge except for the rows. And I can't tell you how much of this. This is really, really beautiful. The texture is amazing. It's a very, very simple cable pattern that I wasn't even using a cable needle for. So as soon as I finish the party top, this is going to be my next cast on, the Coastal Pullover. I am so excited to knit this because I love this yarn so much. And the all over just super simple cabling is beautiful because when I knit the Beekeeper cardigan, I did not realize how much I loved the texture of it. And so I hope this has the same kind of feel, just that I just love that texture. One thing I'm thinking of with this pattern, I'm not really sure what size I'm going to knit. Because I am very petite, I usually knit one of the smaller sizes. The only thing is I read so many project pages about this, and many of them said that even if they met gauge, the item, their garment was too small. And so I'm just trying to decide, because I don't want an oversized sweater, but I don't want a super fitted sweater. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to do at this point, but anyway, I just want to share that with you, and I will be adding this yarn. I'm calling it a Merino Alpaca Twist, and I will be putting this to be available in my sweater quantity section, which I've linked below in case you're interested in ordering it in a custom colorway. So that was really exciting to dye that yarn up for myself. So exciting. And I wanted to share with you these washcloths that I finally finished. I showed you last week the whole roll basically of these washcloths that I had woven. They weren't cut apart, they were just really fresh off the loom. So I wanted to give you an update of how they worked out after I washed them and hemmed them and everything. So this was the thick textured washcloth, I believe the pattern is, and I've linked it below. Very simple pattern, but really wonderful for a beginner like me. And it works wonderfully if you have a small loom like I do as well. And so I purchased this I purchased the pattern because I really wanted I wanted very explicit instructions, like step by step what I should be doing. And I was really happy I did. Yeah, So let me show you a close-up. Here is the dishcloth close-up. You can see that amazing waffle weave pattern. And I'm pretty sure I showed you last week on the pattern that you could see holes in it, and they blocked right out when I washed them. Washed and dried them. I washed them on hot water. And so what I did then is I flipped the hems over twice and sewed them. Let me show you the opposite side. So this is what the opposite side looks like. And I used number 3 crochet cotton to weave, I guess, the hem portion, and then folded that under twice, and then stitched them on my machine. I don't even know if you can see that because it's such a small zigzag. One thing I did differently is I added this border with the pickup stick. And so before the waffle weave was coming all the way out, and I just did this as a plain weave so it would kind of echo this portion as well. This whole pattern, I think, ended up making 8. Let me count. Yeah, I have 6 here, and I actually just put 2 of my, I guess, worst looking ones in my kitchen, and I'll save the other 6 for something down the line, maybe gift them or something. But yeah, they're really durable. I mean, these are very, very sturdy, and in comparison to a knitted dishcloth or washcloth, these really have very little stretch, and so that's just, it's really nice. I love the texture of the waffle weave. It just cleans so well. And so, yeah, this was, I should say this yarn is Knit Picks Dishie in their Creme Brûlée color, and I purchased it on a cone just because weaving takes up so much yarn. And I found it's just like a really nice, it's a really great place to find worsted weight cotton on a cone. The only thing is there's not a ton of colors, but I bought a couple more colors, so maybe I'll be making these again. That is all I have been working on this week. Like I said, my crafting time was so short, unfortunately, but I guess that's just the way some weeks are. And hopefully it'll just be up from here, and I'll have lots of crafting time this next week. I guess there's just a few more things I wanted to share with you. The biggest thing is that I have decided to reopen my advent calendar. There are a very limited number on my website right now, pineappleyarn.com. And so if you're interested, I would recommend checking those out. The reason I'm only putting up a specific number at a time, or a limited number at a time, is just to make sure that I have enough yarn to fulfill those and that I don't oversell, because that would be absolutely terrible. So just a heads up on that. And also check out the shop update preview video after this one if you want to partake in some yarn goodness. I have some new colorways and some autumnal goodness on there. So I hope you'll join me. And then finally, I wanted to let you know that I will be having a shop update this Friday, August 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time at pineappleyarn.com. I hope you will join me there. It's going to be so much fun. And yeah, I guess that's it from me this week. I will definitely see you next week. Until then, I hope you have an awesome day. Bye.